Hi everyone, my name is Tiffany. Welcome back, or welcome if you've never been here before. Today we're reading historical romances. I'm so excited. Thank you, Jess from Peace Love Books, for asking me to join in the fun of getting back into historical romances, because I definitely picked them up last year, but not in the volume that I used to. I do have to thank Rachel from Rachel Reads and Sings. She put together the Summer of Tessa Dare, where we read Tessa Dare's entire backlist that was published through Avon together, which was so much fun. Maggie from Maggie's Books and Stuff put together the Romance Readathon, which is where one of the titles that I'm going to be going over today in this intro, because I'm doing it after the fact, comes from. I started Julianne Long's Palace of Rogues series because of the Romance Readathon. I picked up Scarlett Scott for the first time, swooned over Stacey Reid, and I was taken through the seasons with Kate Bateman. Yet I still did not read nearly as much as I used to. And so because I'm coming to you after the fact, I can say it was definitely great to be back and to capture that swoon. When I was putting together my top reads for last year, it dawned on me that all of the romances on my top reads were slow burns. And there's something about historical romance that just captures that. Those like quiet moments. Oh, it was everything. So I'm going to go over all of the books that I picked up. I cannot wait to see what everybody else read as I figure out who else is participating, because I am a podcast listener of The Bookish Life of Jess and Tori, and I believe they said there were like 14 of us participating. And of course, you know, I have friends, we do gab in the DM, so I know of a few. Okay, I'll continue to populate the description box below so that you can check out everyone else's video. Again, thank you, Jess, for asking if I wanted to join, because I had so much fun with this. First of all, you're going to see me reading Angel in the Devil's Arms by Julianne Long. This is the second in the Palace of Rogues series. If you're new here, I'm a woman who enjoys lighting. If it comes between this melanin getting lit or the books, I choose myself, so I apologize if you can't see it, but I will be getting into the premise at length soon here enough. Next, I got into Midnight by Beverly Jenkins, which I did get to buddy read with my dad. I loved this. This is set right before the Revolutionary War, and I love Miss Bev for weaving in that historical context. And then finally, I had to see what everyone was talking about with Forever Your Rogue by Erin Langston. So without further ado, we're going to get into the vlog. I want to thank you for joining me, and I'll see you when I have thoughts about these. Boy, please, you go fall first. He is gonna fall first. Lucian is falling first. I can feel it. I love this. I love being back in this series. It is just so freaking cozy and comedic. The side characters, we're following Angelique, okay? She is the mistress from book one. The mistress of the once Lady Derry's late husband, who left them both with nothing. They both, instead of being enemies, go into business together, and they fix up his last remaining property that the bank can't seize, which I believe was once a body house, and turn it into an inn. And I loved Angelique in that book because we meet her at a point where she's weary of the whims of men, okay? She's tired, she's done of being dependent, the cost, and her always coming out in losses when it comes to the men that she's trusted and put her faith in and is really dependent on as a woman within society. So in this book, I just find it incredibly hilarious, okay, when our Lost Lord enters the chat. Our Lost Lord, who really has ties to the first book, because their most expensive room has been paid for in full, weekly, on time, by a phantom tenant who's never really stayed in the said room, and that's Lucian, our Lost Lord, who was presumed to be dead. Everybody thought he was dead. He's back in town now and trying to figure out who plotted against his demise, and to set the record straight that he is very much alive, well, financially stable, and here to open up a gaming hell. So I love this exchange between them. And the reason why I'm happy to be back in historicals is because, I don't know, like, they have house rules, and these house rules really usher in these found family moments because they're all centered around the people staying there, spending time with one another. And I love that. And it's also very wholesome. And he's sort of scoffing at that, but it's the banter, it's the verbal volley, it's the fact that he's picking up on how quick she's quipping back. And he notes that, of course, her beauty, but that's what really draws him in. And she is not at all. In fact, I think he scares her because she's so attracted to him because of the allure. She's hoping that he's not going to be willing to carry out all of the rules that they require for him to stay there, and she'll be free, okay, of his advances, of his glances, of his fineness, of his all up in her, you know, he's just there, okay? He's just there and representative of everything that she wants nothing more to do with. And that's cost her like a lot. And so there's just so much meat here. And I just love this sort of like dance of attraction, and it's mental too. And I think the once Lady Dairy can pick up on it as well, but I'm having fun with their dynamic. I also am interested in seeing how he plans on plotting out his revenge, and if they'll be rivals in business as well, because this gaming hell that he wants to open is also an extension to their inn that she would like to purchase as well. So we'll see. He's gonna fall first though. The man is smitten. The man is smitten, and he's fooling himself if he thinks. I mean, I love the dynamic of the inn. Forced proximity. You gonna be staying there, okay? Walking by her every day. That's what she doesn't want. Anyway, I'm already in this. I will be back when I have more thoughts, but I'm having so much fun. It's just like a hug. I do know that this has an audiobook, and I do need to go to work, so I want to try to sneak some chapters, and I'll let you know what I think about that, because I don't know who's the narrator. I think it's Justine Eyre. Don't quote me on that, but if it is, you know, or if it's not, I'll correct myself. But I do like Justine Eyre. She did Sarah McLean's Bare Knuckle Bastard series, and I just love her like airy, yes, like voice. So I can't wait to get into that. I'm done. I'll be back when I have more thoughts. Sure about this angle, but we're going with it. Some time has passed. Okay, I've already finished Angel in Devil's Arms, and I've also gotten into Midnight, so we're gonna get into that. But I have got to thank Tori again for my Christmas card and sticker, and Colleen, that package. Teach me your ways. It was wrapped so freaking beautifully, and it was so kind. I was so shocked because I knew the books were coming, but I did not know that she was gonna make it an entire experience. So I am so grateful to both of you. Thank you. That just like tickled me. I cannot. Thank you so much. Now, I have to also thank Rachel from Rachel Reads and Sings for just reaching out, okay, hitting me in the DMs. I put my reading update in my story, and I was gonna come to you and tell you that I was rating this 3.5 stars. And then Rachel asked me how I felt about the book. And I just started gushing about Lucian and how his love for Angelique completely eclipsed everything. And that's the very thing that I was rating this 3.5 stars for. I rated the first book 4, and the romance in this I liked more than the first book. However, the plot was airtight. In this book, Lucian's revenge plot, his aim to get back at who planned his demise, completely unravels because of his interest in her. And this really hits on some heavier themes of like familial trauma. And there are some hard scenes to read where he basically is before his father that never claimed him, that never did right by his mother, and realizes that he can do away with his urine to get back at them all and to prove something to him. And he really does just get swept up in a new future that he can see for himself because of his interest in her. And I don't know why I was counting that against this book. You know, I felt like, okay, the revenge plot fell kind of flat, but at the same time, I think that's what I really enjoyed about this. This is, again, found family feels. It's very cozy. It's really just about their tit for tat, cat and mouse dance between them. Really Angelique's aim to just not get hurt again. She doesn't want to fall and not be caught. And he absolutely catches her, and I'm rating it 4 stars. Like, I just kept swooning to her in the DMs, and I thought, wait a minute, this is not 3.5. It's absolutely 4 stars. I had such a great time with it, and I'm just like kind of smitten with him and just how he's in awe of everything that she's been through, the woman that she is, just wants to protect her and provide. It's just like, I loved Lucian. So this is 4 stars. And I have made my way into a good chunk of Midnight by Beverly Jenkins, which when I immediately got into, I had to text my dad to do a buddy read. If you don't know, my dad is a huge Beverly Jenkins fan. In fact, we both got to meet her together when she came to Las Vegas. I have that vlog up on my channel. But I knew that he and I would have great conversations centered around the contributions of Black people to the formation in this country. I love the historical elements that Beverly Jenkins puts into her books. My dad's a huge history buff. I grew up in a family where he was gonna let us know what we weren't learning in school, right? And so that's really what he loves about Miss Bev. And when I was introduced to Faith, who's also known as Lady Midnight, because in the dead of night, she passes off secrets or intel to the rebels. This is right before the Revolutionary War. It's set in Boston. And I just was really swept up from the very beginning with the time frame. And this opens with a sobering prologue, which is the reason for why our hero Nicholas is back in Boston due to his father's death. His father was outed as a rebel, and in the prologue, we see him being seized by British soldiers, and he dies during transport. And now that Nicholas is back, he's hell-bent on figuring out who betrayed his father. And he gets word that the last person that saw him was Lady Midnight. Who he doesn't know is Faith. However, he's kind of led to her doorstep because Faith is the daughter of a well-known tavern owner and the daughter of a loyalist. And Nicholas goes to visit the inn, the tavern, just to sort of feel him out because Faith's father was once very good friends with his father, yet they had a falling out. And when he goes to sort of scope the situation, he sees her. And because he has his eye on her father, he's also seeing her in the dead of night, stepping out, questioning what this woman could be doing, captivated by her beauty, but all up in her business, making it very difficult to do her job. And so I liked how quick on her feet in terms of coming up with reasons for why she would be out and about. I also like seeing how this network, okay, is powered by women and how it operates. And then also, I mean, She's a little taken back, a little smitten by Nick, but doesn't really know what to make of it. She's very innocent. She is a devoted, hardworking, and just altruistic woman. She is so good to her father that does not deserve it. I'm just loving how she doesn't really know what to make of him yet. And also, too, to bring the history in, I love a ball. And I love this freaking cover. It's so freaking stunning. Thank you, Christy. Christy from Christy Reads a Lot sent me this book and it's stunning. I apologize. I just had to find it. Thank you, Christy. As I said, I love a ball. I love a country house party. But I also loved being at this fundraiser that they have through the church for a couple that's aiming to buy their freedom papers. The time that we're situated in and how she just weaves community and history in with the romance is just standout to me. So I'm enjoying this. My father has started. He's a little earlier on, so it'll be interesting to go back and forth and see how I believe they're supposed to enter into a marriage of convenience. That has yet to happen, and I can't even figure out what could happen to make that be. So I'll be back when I've read more, and I'll probably try to squeeze in one more book, but we'll see. I am coming to you after work, and I was able to finish midnight. So it's really loud in this parking lot. I might have to bring this to my house if it persists. But this I adored. It was a marriage of convenience that turned out to be a love match, the way that Nicholas treated her. And I will say, I figured out who the culprit was in terms of the mystery element, who was responsible for Nicholas's father's betrayal. I figured that out early on. But something that my father noted, since we were buddy reading, was how Beverly Jenkins handles her villains. I found it interesting how he clocked it. She handles them, but in a particular way. I also just loved the time frame that we were in and the contributions that both Faith and Nicholas had in the formation of the country. Those contributions, those historical elements, I'm always just satiated by when it comes to Beverly Jenkins' work. I absolutely adored this. I think I'm going to rate it 4 stars. And it was, wrapped up with a nice little bow. It was fun. And I just swooned over how he treated her, how he was so elated in being with her, and he treated her like a queen. I can't get over it. It was just swoon worthy. And also I did like how she read Faith's father for filth, and in a way shined a light on characters like him that's probably representative of people like him within history. Because Faith's father was a loyalist, and that didn't do him any favors. And so I just love that. I cannot sing Beverly Jenkins praises enough. I was able to start Forever Your Rogue by Erin Langston. This is a single mother paired with a rogue, or at least she hopes to be. She's a widow, and her aim right now is to keep her custody of her children, which I find to be a really interesting plot here, because her late husband, who she didn't have a great marriage with at all, who was absent in her marriage, who was absent as a father, has passed, and now his family is stepping in and trying to make decisions for her and her children, and essentially take what she's been left. And I really like how this is showcasing just the plight of women in this time. And so she writes Nate, and I'm not sure exactly what she wants him to do, but she's requesting to meet him. And I'm loving it because we figure out who he is, okay, pretty early on. He's not answering her correspondence. He's out drinking. He's the second born. It already feels as though he has a lot of shame. His brother is really putting him to task and hoping that he does something in order to keep his allowance, basically threatening to take it away if he doesn't do something. And I guess Nate and Cora have history, so it's late here. I'm only a little bit the way in. I will be back when I have thoughts, but I'm really enjoying this. I want to try the audiobook though. I think that it is I forget who the audiobook narrator is, but it's dual narration. So I'm excited about that. I'll probably pop into it so I can finish this out within time to get this up on time. I think I can finish this tonight and maybe come to you in the morning, but it's loud here. I'll be back. I'm back and I'm fresh off the page. Okay, fresh off the epilogue. I'm so sorry that I didn't check in sooner. And I was able to check out the audiobook. It's dual narration. Justine Eyre. I love her so much. And I have never heard Will M. Watt before. I loved both of their performances, but I am going to be honest about the quality of the sound was very different between the two of them, and I picked up on that when it was going back and forth. And so I do want to be honest about that, and I put it down just so I could finish it out physically. I hope that doesn't deter you from picking up the audiobook, but it's something that I clocked and it was taking me out of the story, so I put it down. And I absolutely swooned at the man that Nate becomes in his attempt to help out Cora. So I have a better grasp on the premise, and I don't think I was far enough along to explain it well. So I will say that Cora is aiming to garner control and custody of her children. Her late absent husband and the late absent father left guardianship of their children to his family, which allows for them to come in and dictate whether she's fit as a parent or not. And it's to the point where she needs Nate. She's cashing in on a favor. They once knew each other, and she needs him to pose as her fiance. And so this is a fake engagement situation, and he agrees to do it. It's not only just beneficial for him, since his allowance is being withheld by his brother. He needs to get his act together. But when he sees how she's getting steamrolled by her late husband's family, he can't help but step in. I loved the moments between him and her children, and how he wants to suit up and show up for them, and also how she's taking care of him. She is very anxious and obviously wants everything to go off without a hitch. And so she sort of steps in. And I love how she's able to mirror back to him what she sees. And he begins to gain more confidence, begins to not drown in the shame of a lot of his past mistakes and the way that he feels like he's failing. And so there are some really beautiful moments in this book. I will say that there were moments where I felt like the plots within the story, like the storyline in general, was a little long for me, where I felt like it could have been tighter. I hate saying this because I know that this is a lot of people's favorites. And so, oh God, but the epilogue. This is such a beautiful story. I'm ultimately going to be rating it 4 stars. Not me rating everything in this vlog 4 stars. In fact, that is like around my average rating for books. This was so beautiful though. And it's just definitely exemplar of the swoon that I get from historical romances. This even had something so beautiful to me within the steam. Because I know, I've talked about it before. Good girls have become very popular. And I've recently loved within steam where the two main characters are just in awe that it's actually happening. In this book, when he tells her, "You are enough," oh my God, it's such a beautiful moment, because it's everything that she's trying to be. She's been enough. She is enough. And for her to be affirmed in that way during this theme, that sang for me off the page. But again, I'm ultimately going to be rating this 4 stars. I do feel like it ran a bit long, although it was incredibly beautiful, and it has a standout epilogue. I don't want to say the nature of it because I don't want to give anything away, but I did have fun with this. I swooned throughout this entire vlog. So again, thank you, Jess, for asking me to join us all and just picking up historical romances again. I had so much fun doing this, and I'd like to continue on throughout the year. There is Scarlet Scott that I'm interested in getting back into. I read Nobody's Duke last year. I'd like to continue on with this series. I believe the second book is a captor-captive situation, which I love. I'm also looking forward to continuing Julianne Long's Palace of Rogues series, and I can't wait to see what everybody else is picking up, because I'll probably glean from what they read as well. Before I leave, I've got to thank Lachlan for sending me the reek. I couldn't figure out who had sent it to me. Thank you so much. And to Chapters of Cheryl. Cheryl, thank you for sending me Taubauer. This is a standalone. I love Taubauer. I'm so thankful. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Jess. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you can consider subscribing and sticking around. And I hope that wasn't too chaotic. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.